I was in the shower trying to loosen dried blood from my hair after her son accidentally hit me with a broomstick over the last slice of pizza. My wife leaned in and whispered, "Next time, don't flinch. Maybe he'll aim for your throat." I got angry and said nothing. This morning, my phone was full of missed calls. They were begging me to pick up. Hey everyone, before we dive in, I have a quick favor to ask. If you enjoy content like this, please hit the subscribe button. It's free, supports the channel, and ensures you never miss out on amazing videos. Alright, let's get started. I'm literally shaking while typing this out on my phone at some random Dunkin' while my family blows up my messages. Been married to Fiona for 3 years now. She's got a son, Jackson, 16, from her previous marriage to this dude, Arthur. The first year was actually pretty decent. Jackson was kind of quiet, but respectful enough. We'd game together sometimes on the weekend, nothing crazy, but enough to feel like we were building something. I really tried, bras. I tried with this kid. About 8 months ago, something changed. It started with small stuff. Him forgetting to do chores, I asked, leaving his all over the living room, talking back, whatever. Teenagers, right? But then it got worse. He'd wait till his mom wasn't around to call me rent-a-dad, or ask when I was moving on, like all the others. Not making this up. Fiona always had excuses. He's just adjusting, it's a phase, he's sensitive about male figures, blah blah blah. I tried talking to her about it, but she'd get all defensive, and somehow I'd end up apologizing. Red flag city, but I was too deep in it to see clearly. Fast forward to 3 days ago. I got home late after a 12-hour shift, tired as hell. I hadn't eaten since noon. There was one slice of pizza left in the fridge from dinner. One slice. I heated it up, sat down to eat, and Jackson comes stomping in demanding my food. Me, I just worked 12 hours and haven't eaten. There's cereal or sandwich stuff. Him, my mom bought that pizza, not you. Me, trying to stay calm. I actually paid for it with the grocery money yesterday. Him, whatever, loser. I ignored him and took a bite. Next thing I know, there's this crack across the back of my head. The little hit me with the wooden handle of our broom. Hard. I fell forward. Pizza went flying, and I felt blood running down my neck. I turned around in shock, and Jackson was standing there with this half smile like he was trying not to laugh. Him, "Oh, sorry, man. The broom slipped." The broom slipped while he was what? Sweeping the ceiling behind me? Right. Fiona runs in and sees me bleeding. Does she check if I'm okay? Nope. First words out of her mouth. "Jackson, what did he do to you?" Let that sink in, bro. I'm bleeding from my head, and her first concern is what I might have done to precious Jackson. I was so stunned I couldn't even speak. Jackson played innocent, claimed he was just cleaning, and the broom accidentally flew out of his hands. Fiona believed him instantly. Didn't even question it. She grabbed some paper towels, tossed them at me like I was an inconvenience, and told me to clean up before I stayed on the floor. I went to the bathroom in a daze. My head was throbbing, and I had this 3-inch gash that was bleeding pretty good. Probably needed stitches, but whatever. I washed off the blood as best I could and went to bed without saying another word. Fiona didn't even come to check on me. Next morning, Jackson was smirking at breakfast. Fiona acted like nothing happened. I left for work still feeling dizzy, but what choice did I have? That evening, I jumped in the shower, trying to get the dried blood out of my hair that sticks like glue. No joke. I'm standing there with my eyes closed, hot water running over my head, when I feel someone in the bathroom. I open my eyes and Fiona's just standing there watching me through the shower door with this weird expression. Then she leans closer to the glass and says it, the words that changed everything. "Next time, don't flinch. Maybe he'll aim for your throat." Her voice was so calm, like she was telling me the weather forecast. Then she smiled, grabbed her face cream, and walked out like she hadn't just suggested her son should try to kill me next time. I stood there with the water running until it went cold. My mind was racing 1,000,000 miles a minute. Had I misheard? Was it some sick joke? But that look in her eyes, there was nothing joking about it. After my shower, I checked my phone and saw a notification. Fiona had texted Jackson but accidentally sent it to our family group chat, then deleted it quick, but I'd already seen the preview. He's such a pushover, LOL, bleeding like an emoji. That's when something in me snapped. Not like rage snapped. More like everything suddenly became crystal clear. This wasn't a family. This was me bankrolling 2 people who actively hated me. I pretended everything was normal that night, but while they were watching their shows, I went through Fiona's phone. Yeah, I know her password. She uses the same one for everything, Jackson's birthday. What I found made me physically sick. Hundreds of texts between her and Jackson laughing about me, her encouraging him to test my limits, her telling him good job after incidents where he disrespected me. But it gets worse. Turns out she's been draining our joint account for months, sending money to Arthur, her ex, who apparently isn't the deadbeat she claimed. They're still in contact and she's been playing both sides. I found texts to her friends calling me her meal ticket and temporary solution until she figures things out with Arthur. 3 years of my life, and I'm a temporary solution. Then there were the photos, dozens of pictures of my personal stuff, with messages to her friends about how much they could sell it for. My signed baseball collection, my dad's watch, things that can't be replaced. I put her phone back exactly how I found it and went to bed, laid there for hours planning while she slept next to me like nothing was wrong. Yesterday, I called out sick and spent the day documenting every bank statement, screenshots, sent them to myself, then deleted the evidence. Photos of the wound on my head. I even started a voice memo recording on my phone while we ate dinner. Left, got Jackson on tape making 3 separate comments about how accidents happen all the time while staring straight at me. I haven't confronted them yet. I'm playing the long game here. They think I'm weak. They think I'm just going to take this forever. They have no idea what's coming. This morning, I left before they woke up, drove around for hours thinking, planning, stopped at my buddy's place to borrow some cash. Then I did something that apparently freaked them both out. I turned off my phone for 6 hours. Just turned it off and enjoyed the silence. When I turned it back on just now at this Dunkin', I had 37 missed calls, 37 texts saying, "Where are you?" and "We need to talk." And finally, "Please come home. We're worried." Worried now? They're worried? After his accident and her throat comment? I haven't responded yet. They don't deserve to know what I'm thinking. But trust me, bros, this story is just getting started. I've never been a vengeful guy, but for this, I'm making an exception. I'll update when there's more to tell. Right now, I gotta figure out my next move while these idiots blow up my phone, thinking I'm going to come crawling back. Stay tuned. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. Update 1. What up, my dudes? First off, holy, the response to my last post. Never expected thousands of comments. Thanks for having my back. It's been 2 weeks since I found out my wife and stepson have been playing me like a damn fiddle. 2 of the longest weeks of my life. But I promised an update when it went down, so here we go. After turning my phone back on that day at Dunkin', I had a decision to make. Option 1, confront them immediately and watch Fiona spin some BS. Option 2, play the long game. I chose option 2, and bras, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. I went home that night acting like nothing was wrong. Fiona was pissed I'd been unreachable, started this whole guilt trip about how worried they were, how Jackson thought something terrible happened to me, blah blah blah. Meanwhile, the kid's sitting there smirking behind her back. I just nodded and said my phone died and I was helping a buddy move some furniture. She didn't believe me, but whatever. That night, while they were sleeping, I started what I call Operation Get the Hell Out. First priority, money. The next morning, I went to a completely different bank and opened a new account, changed my direct deposit info at work, told my supervisor I needed it done ASAP, and he didn't ask questions. Thanks. Mike, you're a real one. Next, I started going through our finances with a fine-tooth comb. What I found was so much worse than I thought. Not only had Fiona been siphoning money to Arthur, but she'd opened 3 credit cards in my name that I never knew about. 3. Not kidding. She'd been careful. Statements went to her email, minimum payments made on time so I wouldn't get collection calls, but she'd racked up over $8,000 buying shit for her and Jackson. Designer clothes, gaming stuff, a weekend trip I never knew about. My credit score was in the toilet, and I had no idea. I took screenshots of everything, downloaded statements, recorded dates, times, amounts, and started a document listing every penny that disappeared from our joint account. Then I did something that changed everything. I found Arthur on social media. I wasn't planning to message him at first, just wanted to see what this dude was like, but his profile had pictures of him coaching Jackson's old baseball team, posts about missing his son, nothing like the deadbeat Fiona described. So I took a chance and messaged him. Just said I needed to talk about Fiona and Jackson. He responded in like 2 minutes. Turns out Arthur's been fighting for more time with Jackson for years. Fiona's been telling the court Arthur doesn't pay child support. He does. I saw the receipts and that he's verbally abusive. He's not. Meanwhile, she's been telling Jackson his dad doesn't want to see him and poisoning the kid against his own father. Arthur sent me screenshots going back 3 years of him trying to arrange visits that Fiona blocked, birthday messages to Jackson that Fiona never delivered, court documents showing he's never missed a child support payment. My mind was blown, bras. This woman is like some kind of evil genius, playing all of us against each other. But wait, it gets better. While digging through our home office, I found Fiona's old laptop. Password protected, but she uses the same password for everything. Jackson's birthday, remember? Jackpot, hidden folder full of photos of her and Arthur from 6 months while we were married. They weren't just friendly pics either, if you catch my drift. So now I had proof of financial fraud, credit cards in my name, theft, stealing from our joint account, cheating, lying about her ex to the courts, encouraging her son to physically harm me. But I still wasn't ready to pull the trigger. I needed more. I bought a small voice-activated recorder, $40 online. Arrived next day, hid it under the coffee table where Fiona and Jackson usually hang out when I'm not home. Left it running for 3 days. When I listened to the recordings, bros, I almost threw up. The way they talked about me when I wasn't there. Fiona calling me her walking ATM. Jackson laughing about how he hit me with the broom. Fiona saying she was working on Arthur to take her back so she could ditch the loser. They even discussed how they could get me to put the house in both our names, so she'd get half when she left. She'd been planning this for months. The recorder caught Fiona on the phone with someone, probably her friend Wanda, saying the investment, meaning me, wasn't paying off like she hoped because I was too careful with money, that I wasn't as loaded as she thought when we got married. Sorry, I don't have a trust fund, Fiona. Some of us actually work for a living. I was seething but still playing the normal husband at home, making dinner, watching TV together, sleeping next to a woman who was literally plotting to take everything I had. Then I had a breakthrough. I found out Fiona has a sister, Irene, who lives about an hour away. They haven't spoken in years. Fiona always said Irene was jealous and unstable. I reached out to Irene on social media. We met for coffee last week. Turns out Irene isn't jealous or unstable. She cut contact with Fiona after catching her stealing from their dying mother. According to Irene, this is Fiona's pattern. Find a decent guy, bleed him dry, move on to the next. Irene had receipts too. Photos of jewelry that disappeared from their mom's house, screenshots of Fiona bragging to friends about her system for finding providers. She even warned me that Fiona likely had an exit plan involving making me look abusive so she could get sympathy and money from her next target. The whole time I'm gathering evidence, I'm still acting normal at home. The hardest 2 weeks of my life, pretending everything's fine while knowing I'm living with people who literally hate me, eating dinner across from them, watching Jackson smirk every time Fiona made some subtle dig at me. Then last Wednesday my opportunity came. Fiona mentioned she was thinking of taking Jackson to visit her cousin this weekend, a 3-hour drive. Would I be okay alone for the weekend? I had to fight to keep from smiling. I acted reluctant at first, told her I'd miss them, gag. I even offered to come with them. She made up some excuse about her cousin's house being too small. I finally gave in and said they should go have fun. As soon as they left Friday afternoon, I put my plan into action. First, I withdrew my half of what was left in our joint account. Just my half, all documented. I'm not a thief like her. Then I called my buddies, Dave and Marcus. They showed up with a truck and we spent 8 hours moving all my stuff out, furniture I'd brought into the marriage, electronics I'd paid for, my clothes, tools, everything that was mine. We moved it all to a small apartment secretly rented last week. Not fancy, but it's mine, and she doesn't know where it is. I left all her stuff untouched, left Jackson's gaming setup and all his things. I'm not heartless. The kid's been manipulated by his mother his whole life. Before I left, I put 3 things on the kitchen table. A folder with copies, not originals, of all the evidence, bank statements, credit card statements with my name but purchases I never made, screenshots of her texts about me, transcripts from the recordings of them mocking me, printouts of her conversations with Arthur over the past year, including the photos from 6 months ago. A note that said, I know everything. Lawyer up. Then I left my key on top and walked out. They weren't due back until Sunday evening. I spent Saturday and Sunday setting up my new place, canceling joint accounts, and filing fraud alerts on the credit cards I never opened. Sunday at 7:43 p.m., my phone exploded. 28 missed calls in 30 minutes, voicemails from Fiona screaming, then crying, then threatening, then begging. Texts from Jackson calling me every name in the book, then suddenly changing tone when he realized I had recordings of him admitting the broom wasn't an accident. More texts from Fiona switching between threats and pleading, saying we could work it out and she never meant any of it, and how I misunderstood everything. When they got back Sunday night, the house was completely empty, except for their stuff and that single envelope. No note saying where I went, no explanation beyond the evidence I left. That's when my phone started blowing up. It's been 2 days now. I haven't responded to a single message. My lawyer got one last week, says don't engage at all. Everything goes through him now. Fiona's latest tactic? Having her friends message me saying I'm tearing apart a family and Jackson is devastated. The same Jackson who hit me with a broom and laughed about it. This morning I woke up in my new place. It's quiet, peaceful for the first time in months. I didn't feel like I was walking on eggshells. This isn't over yet, bras. Part 3 is coming when the real fallout hits, because right now, Fiona thinks this is just about me leaving. She has no idea what's coming next. Thanks for riding with me, my dudes. The storm is about to hit. Finally, update. Hey, my dudes. It's been a month since my last update, and holy, what a month it's been. Literally had to turn off notifications on my phone because this blew up way bigger than I expected. Thanks for all the support. Reading your comments kept me from second-guessing myself during some rough nights. So, where to start? The morning after I moved out, I woke up to this weird silence in my new apartment. For a second, I forgot where I was. That split-second panic when you wake up somewhere different. Then it hit me. No Jackson stomping around, no Fiona sighing dramatically when I used too much hot water. Just quiet. Made myself some coffee in this cheap coffee maker I grabbed at the store. Forgot mine in the move. Sat on my air mattress since I hadn't set up my bed yet. Just sipping coffee, watching the sun come up through blinds that weren't completely closed, right? For the first time in forever, I felt this weight lifted off my chest that I didn't even know was there. Then I checked my old phone. Over 80 missed calls overnight. 80. Not exaggerating. The messages started hostile. Fiona calling me every name in the book, threatening to call the cops for stealing from the house. Then they shifted to confusion when she actually read through the evidence I left. By morning, they turned desperate, but I wasn't responding. Not yet. Instead, I executed the next phase of my plan. First, I emailed everything to Arthur, the complete documentation of how Fiona had been lying to the courts about him, manipulating Jackson against him, and using the child support money to fund her lifestyle while telling everyone he never paid. Included those photos of them together from 6 months ago that I found on her laptop. Next, I sent a carefully worded email to Fiona's boss. Nothing dramatic or accusatory, just inquiring if the expense reports she'd been submitting for client meetings that never happened were company policy. Attached screenshots of her texts admitting she was pocketing the reimbursements. Turns out her company takes financial impropriety pretty seriously. Then came the family nuclear option. I'd been quietly connecting with Fiona's relatives on social media during those 2 weeks. Her parents, siblings, including Irene, aunts, cousins, people she'd been lying to about me, Arthur, and everything else for years. I created a private group message and added them all. Dropped a simple message explaining I'd left Fiona after discovering financial fraud and infidelity. Said I was sorry things ended this way and thanked them for welcoming me into the family. Then I added one attachment, a document with dates, times, and screenshots proving everything. Let me tell you, bras, family tea gets spilled fast. By day 3, Fiona's mom had called her demanding explanations. Her dad was apoplectic about the credit card fraud. Her aunt, who apparently had loaned Fiona money based on lies about me being financially abusive, was threatening legal action. Meanwhile, my lawyer filed the paperwork for divorce and financial separation, filed fraud reports for the credit cards she'd opened in my name, filed a police report about the assault with the broom. Not to press charges against Jackson necessarily, but to document everything officially. Day 5, Arthur's lawyer contacted Fiona about revisiting custody arrangements based on the new evidence. Turns out lying to family court judges about the other parent is frowned upon. Who knew? Day 7, Fiona got suspended from her job pending an investigation into financial irregularities. Day 10, I finally answered one of her calls. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her, begging me to call off the attacks from all sides, saying I'd ruined her life, that she was about to lose everything: job, custody, family support, the house she couldn't afford without my income. I let her talk herself out. Didn't interrupt, didn't gloat, just listened. When she finally ran out of steam, I said only one thing: everything that's happening is the direct result of choices you made. Then I hung up. Harsh maybe, but 3 years of manipulation and a broomstick to the head buys you exactly zero sympathy from me. The next couple of weeks were a blur of lawyer meetings, paperwork, and blocking new numbers as Fiona kept trying to reach me from her friends' phones after I blocked hers. Then something unexpected happened. Got a message request on Discord from an account I didn't recognize. It was Jackson. I almost deleted it without reading, almost, but curiosity got the better of me. His message wasn't what I expected. No cursing, no threats, just, I didn't know about the credit cards or the stuff with my dad. Can we talk? Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet him at a coffee shop near my new place. Public spot, daytime, no chance of ambush. When I got there, the kid looked different, smaller somehow. Shoulders hunched, dark circles under his eyes. Been sleeping on his friend's couch since the electricity got shut off at the house. Fiona hadn't paid the bill in 2 months, using the money for who knows what. We sat in awkward silence for a solid minute before he spoke. Said his mom had been feeding him lies about Arthur for years. That after I left, Arthur reached out directly to him, showed him proof of all the times he'd tried to see Jackson, but Fiona blocked it. The kid was shell-shocked. His whole reality flipped upside down in a month. Finding out your mom's been lying to you about basically everything your entire life? That's rough at any age, but 16? Damn. He admitted hitting me with the broom wasn't an accident. Said his mom had been encouraging him to test my boundaries for months, make me snap so she could paint me as the bad guy when she eventually left. The most surprising part? He actually apologized. Not some half-assed, sorry, not sorry, but a genuine admission that he'd been wrong. Said he'd been angry for so long, he just aimed it wherever his mom pointed. I didn't forgive him on the spot or anything. That's going to take time, if it ever happens. But I did tell him I was glad he was talking to his dad again. Turns out Arthur has filed for emergency custody. Jackson's staying with him now while Fiona tries to claw her way out of the hole she dug. As for Fiona, karma's not just a bitch, it's a whole kennel. Her parents found out she'd been stealing from her grandmother's retirement fund. That was apparently the last straw. They've cut her off completely. Her suspension from work turned into termination with potential legal consequences after they did a deeper audit. The house is going into foreclosure because, surprise, surprise, she hadn't been making mortgage payments for months, just pocketing my contribution. She's been blowing up social media trying to paint herself as the victim, but the receipts I shared with her family have made the rounds. Nobody's buying her story anymore. Last I heard, she's staying with her friend Wanda and selling her designer bags online to make rent money. The same bags she bought with credit cards in my name. Ironic, right? Yesterday, I got served with divorce papers, but not from my lawyer. Fiona found some budget attorney willing to take her case. The filing is laughable, asking for alimony, half of our assets, claiming emotional distress. My lawyer says it'll be thrown out the minute the judge sees the evidence of fraud. So, where am I now? Still in my small apartment. Air mattress upgraded to a real bed. Got most of my stuff organized. Started therapy last week because 3 years of gaslighting does a number on your head. Dating? Nah, not ready for that minefield yet. Need to unfuck my own head first. The weirdest thing is how normal everything feels now. Making my own meals without someone criticizing me. Watching whatever I want on TV. Not walking on eggshells in my own home. Ran into Jackson and Arthur at the store last week. Awkward as hell, but civil. The kids staying in school, getting counseling. Arthur seems like a decent dude who got screwed over by the same woman who almost ruined me. Is this story over? Almost. Divorce should be final in a few months. Credit card fraud investigation is ongoing. I'm taking it day by day. But bras, let me tell you something. I never expected to feel again. Peace. Just straight up, boring, beautiful peace. No wife whispering threats while I'm washing blood out of my hair. No stepson waiting to accidentally hurt me again. No more being anyone's ATM or emotional punching bag. The other day I was driving home from grabbing food, and this song came on that Fiona used to love. A month ago it would have sent me spiraling, but I just turned it up and kept driving. That's when I knew I was going to be okay. So that's it, my dudes. The end of the craziest chapter of my life. Thanks for riding with me through it all. Your comments kept me sane when I was doubting myself. Special shout out to the bros who sent me recipes when I mentioned I was living on ramen. That chicken thing with the ranch powder was actually fire, not gonna lie. If there's one thing I learned from all this, trust your gut. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Document everything, and when someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. Peace out, Reddit. Like today's story? A super thanks helps me keep bringing you the best daily content. Your support means I can keep doing what I love. Thanks for being awesome.